Sanya, I do not need you to be trying to be her lawyer today.
No, I'm not gonna, Candy, I'm not being a lawyer. What I'm saying is that you are focused on something that is not the issue. If it was the issue, I would be
Her
mad
flowers.
about that.
That's what I got to say about that. Her and those flowers that she was expecting to get.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 15, Episode 7. And before we get into it, let me just quickly say, I know if I do sound different, please just ignore it. My mic broke a few days ago. I don't know how. Just the weirdest things happen sometimes. The life of a YouTuber. But I ordered a new one and it should be coming soon. So again, I hope you don't mind. I didn't want the video to be late. But yeah, my new mic is coming. So if you don't mind just bearing with me, much appreciated. But guys, I do have quite a lot to say about this episode. I just feel like Marlo is past the point of no return, in my opinion. I think that it is such delusional thinking to feel as though you should be treated with respect when all you give to everybody else is nothing but disrespect and just vile behavior. I also feel like Sanya trying to play this pseudo peacemaker, that's also very aggravating. I'm unclear as to why Sanya's pretending like she can't understand why they don't like Marlo. Sanya, you are aware that people have patterns, and if Marlo could treat her friends this way, then what makes you think that you're not next when she gets mad at you for whatever reason? We know that Marlo has a very quick temper. She gets triggered easily, and you never know what's going to set her off. So the fact that you want to turn a blind eye to her behavior and act like, well, it's just not fair, and they're painting her out to be the villain, and she's really nice, and it's like, Sanya, wake up. Because again, she will turn on you next. Just mark my words. And Sanya, just a quick tip from me to you. You just got on this show, and the majority of us viewers don't see it for you. We think that you're very boring and just overall extremely dull. So for you to get on other people's podcasts and other people's YouTube channels and you're trying to throw shade at Candy, saying that Candy could go, baby, you better hope that you're still here for next season. I could definitely see Bravo letting you go because, like I said, you brought absolutely nothing.
You're not fab like that to be doing all of that. Learn your place, earn your spot.
But y'all, with all that being said, let's just get right on into it because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. Now, we start off this episode with Drew meeting up with her music video director. I think his name is Rage. I'm not going to hold you guys. I found this scene to be boring. No offense, I'm not that interested in Drew's music storyline. I just want to get to the part where she files for divorce from Ralph. That's what I'm waiting for. So this whole music video and this new music, I could care less. So we can just breeze right on past it because I don't have any thoughts about it. Listen, I have to be real. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sure that a lot of you guys didn't care either. You know what's really funny? I was watching Erica De Niro's recap. I want to say it was last week's recap or the week before. Shout out to the diva, by the way. I love her. But she made a great point where she said, it always feels like we're watching a different show. And I agree with that. I feel like Drew's scenes always feel so disjointed. I don't know. I think that maybe it's just her and Ralph together, and we all know it's going to come down the road. But it's like the Real Housewives of Atlanta are over here, and then it's Drew doing her own thing over there. But yeah, I just don't care about this whole music storyline in the least bit. Now, this next scene with Shereé and Sanya together at a cryotherapy chamber, one thing I will say, cryotherapy is that girl. I've done it several times. I love how I feel afterwards. If you have any aches or pains, it definitely helps with that. You burn a good 700 calories, so it definitely does help that metabolism. But this scene definitely had me feeling like, yeah, let me book another session. So anyhow, they're hanging out because now they're new best friends. And I just feel like, Sanya, you do realize that Shereé is only being friendly with you because it's just another person to film with. Shereé would not really be talking to you had you joined this show seasons prior. Like, I just find it so funny that Sanya feels so good that she's with the two mean girls, Shereé and Marlo. But anyhow, Sanya brings up how Rihanna gave Shereé a shout out. So Shereé's like, oh my gosh, I know the fact that Rihanna knows who I am and she knows all about She by Shereé, it feels really good. Especially since some other people, i.e. Kandi, has been a hater and she's been saying all this stuff about my brand. Now, Shereé, you are so quick to call somebody a hater when they're trying to give you some constructive criticism. Kandi has said multiple times that she tried to help you and your brand. And Shereé, I also want to point out how you seem to have a selective memory, because you forget all the times that you've shaded Kandi, but now when Kandi claps back and shades you, now it's a problem? Now she's a hater? I don't like that. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You can't shade somebody and then you get mad when they shade you right back. Shereé is the perfect example of she can dish it out, but she cannot take it. And Shereé really shows that you're not this savvy businesswoman, because anybody with some sense would have capitalized on the moment of Rihanna shouting you out. Like, if you were smart, you would have sent Rihanna a gift box with all of your stuff. You would have maybe made some shirts about Rihanna shouting you out. Like, I just feel like Shereé misses the mark every single time to truly capitalize off of the momentum. Also, Shereé, if you were really smart, you'd be wearing She by Shereé in almost every single scene. One thing about Bethany Frankel, whether you hated her or loved her, every time you saw her in a scene in New York, Mama always had her Skinny Girl products out on full display. She had her Skinny Girl jeans on, her Skinny Girl sweaters on, her Skinny Girl margaritas, Skinny Girl popcorn. It was always in that scene together when she was filming. But you're dripped out in Louis, Gucci, Fendi, Prada, and it's like, where is She by Shereé? If you would actually just use your brain for 1 minute and stop focusing on Kandi and Kenya so much, She by Shereé could actually do something. But anyhow, we now see Shereé and Sanya discussing what Sanya's been up to. Sanya says that things have been good. She's trying to have baby number 2, but her husband Ross is always away because, remember, he has that limo business in Austin, Texas. So of course they bring up what happened at the escape room the other night. Sheree's like, oh my gosh, it went left. I couldn't believe that. Now I'm confused because I understand why Kandi left, but why did Kenya, Drew, and Manetta have to follow behind her? Now I said, Shereé, once again, let's just use our brain. You know that Marlo has beef with everybody, okay? So once that all went down with Kandi, they all said, shout out to everybody, I have fun, and rightfully so.
Oh! Shout out to everybody, I have fun.
I gotta be good.
I don't want to spend 1 more minute with somebody that I can't stand. So I would have also left as well. I'm just really baffled at how these two can sit here with their pea brains and try to rewrite history and act like Marlo is this saint. And once again, Shereé, I think it is so funny. You of all people riding this hard for Marlo Hampton when you could not stand her when you first met. And now you're her biggest cheerleader and her biggest advocate. So Sanya says that she plans on meeting up with Kandi because she wants to let Kandi know that what was told to her by Drew and Kenya wasn't the truth, and how she believes that Drew and Kenya put some hot sauce on what Marlo really said. Now, Sanya, how is that possible when we heard out of Marlo's own mouth why she was angry at Kandi? She said verbatim, I'm angry because Kandi did not send me flowers. So how can you now twist your mouth and say, well, they put extra sauce on the story? No, they didn't. They told the truth. Marlo is upset because with her entitlement, she feels like she's owed something. But Shereé goes on to say that she's hosting a Keeping It Gucci brunch so that everybody can just, get all their issues out, hash it all out, and try to be on the same page again because she's tired of all them fighting, especially since she's friends with everybody in this group. Now, I said, Shereé, I wouldn't say that you're a friend to anybody. You're only a friend to yourself. So please miss me with all that, oh, I'm a friend to everybody, I love everybody. No, you don't. And the way you talk so badly about everybody in your confessionals, Like, again, sis, who are you trying to fool? Now, I'm not going to hold you guys. I was tempted to just skip over this scene with Marlo and Courtney meeting up for dinner. But Marlo said a few things that I couldn't ignore and I had to address. So I said, you know what? Let me just talk about it. Now, we see them out to dinner and Marlo is thanking Courtney because Courtney, while she's a new friend, she has yet to judge Marlo on her past, and she actually put Marlo in contact with somebody who can help her get her record expunged. Because we all remember that a few episodes ago, Marlo revealed that she wants to own a firearm, but because of her past and her record, she can't own one. So she's like, Courtney, thank you so much. You've been a great friend to me. And it's so funny that you're helping me when everybody else in this group hasn't. I just want to stop for just a minute. I touched on Marlo being entitled in last week's recap, but I want to touch on it again because I am dying to know, why does Marlo feel like everybody in this group owes her something? I'm just really tired of this narrative that everybody is supposed to coddle and come to her rescue when Marlo is a grown-ass woman. Also, Marlo, all the bragging that you've done about how you were with a billionaire for over a decade, when you were with this man, you never thought to say, hey, babe, can you get my record expunged? Talk about somebody with the resources to do that. And the fact that now you're putting this responsibility on Candy and everybody else, I'm not understanding. It's just so comical to me that this woman has this warped sense of reality where they're all supposed to treat her with kid gloves and she takes no responsibility for her life or her actions. And I'm also confused as to this sense of entitlement when all you do is berate and insult people all day long, but yet you still expect them to help you. That's where my confusion lies, because I'm of the belief where if you actually want me to help you, you have to be kind. You have to actually value me as a friend. You can't say whatever you want to me and then expect me to still help you. That's not how this works.
No.
I'm not here for Marlo using her childhood and all that she's gone through as an excuse as to why she is the way she is. It's BS. Get some therapy. We all have a story. Everybody has had something traumatic and painful happen to them, but we're not all lashing out like Marlo is. So now Marlo gives this half-assed apology about how she's sorry for how she showed out at the escape room event, and she says that she only said it because she was hurt. So Courtney asked a very important question, and she's like, Marlo, if you don't mind me asking, if you felt so hurt about this, then why didn't you bring this up years ago when it happened? So Marlo tells a bold-faced lie, which let me know that something's not right, because how you can lie like this on national TV, again, is beyond me. Marlo says, I held this in because I hadn't seen Candy in years. Marlo, your nephew passed away in August of 2020. From then to now, you have been filming The Real Housewives of Atlanta with Candy as a full-time cast member. You had ample time to bring this up if you were so devastated. We're not going to sit up here and do this, Marlo. Just be honest for once and admit that you are only bringing this up because you don't have a storyline and you need something to talk about. This is pathetic. I think I'm past the point of even being surprised at what comes out of her mouth. I think that Marlo wants to live in this delusional space, and we have to accept it. We have to accept that Marlo has a funny relationship with the truth, and that this woman is somebody who will do anything to secure the bag. And if that means bringing up a relative's passing that has nothing to do with the show, then she'll do that. And then when Marlo said, well, I can't keep kissing ass, and I'm not going to keep educating your ignorant ass on why I'm upset. The only person ignorant is you, Marlo, and I've pointed this out in several recaps. You have an issue with how likable Candy is, and you're jealous of that. Because every single time you get angry at Candy, you always revert back to, I'm not going to kiss your ass like everybody else, and I'm going to take you down a peg. It's always in that realm of you're upset at how people like Candy and how they defend her. And it's like you want to take her down a notch because you feel like you deserve what she has. You're just upset that you're in the wrong and that Candy's in the right and people are jumping to her defense. So now we flip to the parallel scene with Candy and Sanya meeting up at OLG. So Candy's like, look, 2 weeks ago I was in New York for the opening of our play, The Piano Lesson. We had a great time. I was in awe of all these celebrities who came out to see us. And now I come back to Atlanta and I'm in the middle of all this mess. Like, I can't do this. Candy makes a joke about how she's not going to F with any of these girls anymore. And here goes Sanya playing dumb, talking about, why? Why not? Like, what's the problem? I just don't understand. So Candy addresses how Sanya is a flip-flopper and how Sanya rides the fence. Like, girl, whose side are you on? So you have Sanya saying, no, I'm not like that. Just because I'm friends with her doesn't mean that I can't be friends with you. And then she goes on to say that their beef is none of her business and she's staying out of it. Now, let me just pause for a minute, right? I feel very strongly about this. If you have been watching me for quite some time, you know where I stand on that. I'm a big believer in picking sides. I just am. Call it petty. I have to be real. But if I love you, if somebody does not like you, I'm not going to befriend your enemy. And I expect the same in return. I just don't believe in playing neutral and being friends with people who hate each other. 9 times out of 10, when you're stuck in the middle like that, you do know that both people are talking poorly about each other every time their names are brought up. And that puts you in a weird predicament. And 9 times out of 10, most likely you're laughing at what's being said. You're just not being a loyal friend, in my opinion. I know that folks might debate me down below. That's fine. But for me, if you have beef with one of my friends, I'm not going to befriend you. It's pretty much like you have beef with me too, because I just don't believe in befriending somebody who hates somebody that I love. And I loved how Candy called Sanya out on that. And for Sanya to act like, well, I'm not involved in it. I want to be friends with everybody. Sanya, you're very two-faced. We saw when Courtney was calling Candy ghetto in the first episode, you were sitting up there laughing and like, you're not as neutral as you're trying to claim. You're not. Also, Sanya, what really kills me about you is the fact that you're turning a blind eye to how evil Marlo's been. I'm one of those people where I don't need for somebody to hurt me for me to see, well, it's not a good idea for me to be friends with them. If I see that a person has a pattern with treating people poorly, I'm not going to say, well, you know what? Well, they're still nice to me, though. I know that if they've done this group wrong, then eventually I'm going to be next. And the fact that Sanya can't see that, and it makes me wonder, does Sanya have some secret jealousy or resentment towards Candy and Kenya? And she feels like she's getting over on them by befriending people who can't stand them? That's what it feels like, because why you want to be friends with mean girls at your big age makes no sense to me. Sanya has that desperate middle school energy where she wants to be accepted. The thirst just oozes out of her pores. And every time I see Sanya in a scene, Sanya always gives me fan energy. It's like they plucked a fan off the street and said, hey, you want to be on the Real Housewives of Atlanta? That's what she gives me. I don't see her as their peer. I look at her as a fan who lucked up and got on the show. I really hope that Sanya is not brought back. She is so boring. She brings absolutely nothing. And y'all said she didn't bring anything on that We TV show either. That's why it got canceled. So Candy makes it clear that she's not the sentimental type. She says, look, when it comes to me and friendship, I'm the motivational friend. I'm the friend who's going to bring you a job, some money. I'm going to help you get to the bag. But when it comes to moping around and sitting there crying, that's not me. She goes on to add that when her brother passed away, she was only 15. And that changed her forever. And it also changed her outlook. Like, life goes on. You can't wallow in self-pity. So she's not the type who's gonna sit up there and just console you, like, oh my gosh, how are you doing? Like, that's just not her. Now, I admire Kandi for being able to admit her strengths and her weaknesses. She knows the kind of friend that she is. Everybody's different. Everybody brings something different. But I also want to add another layer to that. Marlo and Kandi have never even had that relationship for Kandi to be soft like that and console Marlo if Marlo was down. And I'm curious to find out, does Marlo offer that sort of support to other people when they're going through things? It just seems like Marlo has this me mentality where it's all about what can somebody do for me and not what she can do for other people. But we do see Sanya and Kandi discuss the Gucci brunch that Shereé is hosting. And Kandi says, I thought the invitation was hilarious. And you can tell that while she thought the invitation was funny, she's still not in a rush to go because she knows that it's not about to be a productive sit down with Marlo or anybody. Like, let's be real. The blowout that Marlo and Kandi had, a brunch is not going to solve that. Now, this scene with Kenya going to her doctor and she's discussing the possibility of her getting pregnant a second time. She wants for Brooklyn to have a playmate and a buddy. Now, I have quite a few thoughts about this. We know that Kenya is in her 50s. She even said that she had a tough pregnancy with Brooklyn. Her doctor even said that in her 32 years of practicing, that Kenya's pregnancy and delivery was the toughest one that she's seen and how it was one of the scariest. I'm all for a woman wanting what she wants and getting what she wants. But at the same time, with certain things, you do have to be realistic. And I did like how her doctor brought up the possibility of a surrogate, because that's where my mind went as well. Now, Kenya, I was confused. You saying that you still want to have another child with Mark, that's what blew me. And even the producer asked you, you're going through this really crazy divorce. Why would you want to have another child with Mark? And your answer about, well, who wants to have all these kids with multiple fathers? I'm just so confused, and I know that it's easy to talk about something when you're not in it, but Mark is putting you through literal hell. And all you can focus on is, well, I don't want my children to have different fathers. That should be the least of your worries, in my opinion. I just feel like all that he's put you through, how could you even want to look at him? Like, I don't know. I was upset to hear it. I was confused hearing it. I have sympathy, I have empathy for Kenya. I know that she's in a tough spot, but I'm thinking, Kenya, please let that man go. So it's the day of Shereé's Gucci brunch. She has a private room at this restaurant, and I thought it was funny how Shereé did not know where to seat everybody. She had the place cards in her hand, and she's like, okay, well, I can't put her there because she doesn't like her, and this one doesn't like her, so I gotta put her there. And it was just a whole mess. Pretty much, you really can't place Marlo anywhere because Marlo is beefing against the whole entire group. And Shereé really pissed me off when she said, I just hate the fact that these girls are all feeding off each other. And I'm like, Shereé, that's not what this is. They all have their personal gripes with Marlo because Marlo has been nasty to all of them. They're not just feeding off of each other just because they're trying to be mean. They all have valid reasons for why they don't see it for Marlo. But we see Sanya, Courtney, and Kandi arrive. I was surprised that Kandi gave Courtney a hug. Y'all know me. Y'all know I hold a grudge, honey. Courtney would not say anything to me. You want to sit up there and lie on me and say that I was asking to be your friend, and then you want to call me ghetto. Courtney could not say hello or goodbye to me. But I said, you know what? Everybody's not like me, and they are filming a show. So I guess Kandi thought it would be nice if she hugged Courtney. But I said, girl, it couldn't be me. And Bravo, do not bring Courtney back for next season. Please don't. She was a mistake. I love how Kandi asked Shereé if she could switch Marlo's seat. She said, nope, I do not want her on my side. Please switch her right on over to yours. Like, I'm not doing this. If I can't stand you I don't want to see you. I damn sure don't want to be eating and breaking bread with you in my line of vision. So yeah, girl, you go over there while I'm right here. So now we see Drew arrive, and she says that Marlo needs some attention and a hug. And that is what Marlo needs. That's why she's lashing out, because she wants Kandi and Kenny's attention badly. So Marlo arrives, and I was here for Kandi. Kandi didn't even turn around. She didn't even bother to give Marlo a hello. She said, girl, we're not even doing this today. Paid her dust. I said, exactly, Kandi. Drew didn't speak to Marlo either, and Marlo knew better than to say hi to either one of them. So, of course, you have Marlo trying to be funny. She's shading everybody's looks. She's like, Drew looks like the Gucci handyman. Kandi looks like she's going bowling. She said, what did she say? She said, Shereé looks like she's going to court to give a deposition. Then she says Sanya looks like she ran to the store and bought it off the rack.
Drew's out here looking like the Gucci handyman. Shereé looks great, but she look like she's ready to give a deposition. Kandi look like she ready to go bowling. You the captain of the bowling team? Sanya look like she ran right into that outfit. Sample size Gucci. That was new in the store, baby.
I'm not gonna hold you. Marlo was low-key correct, because I did feel like the looks weren't hitting. If I had to say who looked the best in their Gucci pieces, I guess Marlo's look would be the best. That's the nicest thing I'm going to say about Marlo all season long, okay? So don't get used to it, but I have to be fair. And I will say that that was the best I've seen Sanya look. I think that it was definitely her most glamorous look. And even if she did run to Neiman's or Saks or the Gucci store and get that off the rack, she did do a nice job. So I'll give Sanya a compliment. Again, Sanya, don't get used to it. But yeah, you did do a good job this time around. So Shereé starts off the brunch by saying that she has love and respect for each woman there, and she's so tired of them fighting and the group being divided. So she starts crying. Now, I rewatched this scene a few times, and I did not see one tear fall from Shereé's eyes. That's a talent, to cry with no tears. Me, honey, I am a crier. Like, when I cry, everything's coming off. The foundation is running. The mascara is running. The lashes are off. Like, I look a mess. So if you could teach me how to cry with no tears, I would greatly appreciate that. Because like Candace Dillard Bassett, oh honey, I'm crying. The tears are coming out. But I thought it was admirable that Shereé was actually trying to pretend like she does have emotions. Kenya had me screaming. She said, honey, I have Jesus on speed dial. Only he can fix it. So Shereé wants to know, where do Kandi and Courtney stand? And Kandi says, Courtney, I know that we started off on the wrong foot, but I do have to say that I really appreciated you coming to check on me after I got into that blowout with Marlo at your event. So Courtney says that she's also happy that Kandi even came to her event and how that was an olive branch and how she wants to move forward because she has no issues with Kandi. Now, they hash it out, they're fine, but as for me, I would need to hear an apology come out of Courtney's mouth before we could move on. Because I didn't hear an I'm sorry, Kandi, and I would have needed that because, again, honey, it wouldn't have happened. I would have said, Courtney, it's still F you. I don't like you. You started this whole thing with me. I didn't even do anything to you. Like, no, we can't move forward. I told you guys I'm petty. Listen, all my prayer warriors, if you don't mind just saying a prayer for me tonight. At least I'm honest, okay? Like, I feel like with everything else, I'm great. But when it comes to that forgiveness, honey, that unforgiveness has me in a chokehold. We all have our issues. We all have our vices. We all have our things, I guess, right? So I guess that's mine. But listen, when I love you, though, like when I'm your friend, like I'm your friend, I got you. But when we're on the outs, I don't got you.
And you're gonna always get it again and again and again.
So now Sanya addresses Kenya and she says, Kenya, I've always looked at you as a friend. I feel like I've been a good friend to you. But you telling me to go home when we were in Alabama, that didn't sit right with me. I always feel like you're hot and cold with me. So Kenya says, look, Sanya, when it comes to you, I don't think that I can trust you because you were on Watch What Happens Live a few months ago and you were shady talking about my butt is fake. And I didn't appreciate that. Like, what kind of friend does that? So Sanya's denying that she was being shady. And Kenya says, look, all you had to say was she looks good and leave it at that. Now, two things can be true at the same time. Sanya is a flip-flopper. Sanya is aggravating. But at the same time, Kenya, I still stand on what I said in the last recap, or the recap before, that it was rude of you to dismiss Sanya like that and tell her to leave. I would have been offended too. Now, Sanya, I have to get you together yet again because why you feel like you're the spokesperson now? This is Sheree's brunch. Why don't you stay out of the beef with everybody else and Marlo? I don't know why you're so pressed for everybody to just get along with Marlo when Marlo is the cause of all the problems in this group. So Marlo jumps in and says, well, I'm in a great place in my life right now. I said, are you? Are you sure? Because happy people do not act the way you act. So I find that hard to believe that you're in a great place. But anyhow, Marlo goes on to say that she only expressed to Drew that she was disappointed and upset at how Kandi wasn't being a good friend to her 2 years ago. At this point, Marlo keeps rambling on and she's like, I can't force somebody to like me and I'm not even gonna try, it is what it is. And I'm thinking, Marlo, you clearly are bothered because I've said this several times. Every time somebody ignores you, you go off the deep end. You insult people, and then when they give you their ass to kiss and tell you stop bothering me, then you're upset that they don't want to be around you. You have this disconnect. So Kenya jumps in and she says, you can't make somebody like you when you're being hateful and evil all the time. So Marlo's trying to tune Kenya out, and then she says that she's being genuine. So here's where Kandi jumps in. She's like, no, you're not being genuine because nobody who's genuine would try to use their nephew's passing as a talking point. And the fact that you want to tie my name to a murder is disgusting. You wouldn't appreciate that and you know it. Now, it was at this point where I knew that nothing was going to get solved. You have Drew jumping in, Kenya's jumping in. Marlo's like, can I speak? Can I speak? And I said, no. The way you cut other people off when they're talking, all that you said and done, girl, enough. So at this point, Marlo's playing dumb and she's like, well, I'm just confused. What did I say was the big issue? So Kandi's like, girl, you said to everybody else that you're mad that I didn't buy you flowers. That's the issue, over some damn flowers. I got really pissed off when Shereé said that Kandi always has her people speaking for her. And I'm like, Shereé, what are you talking about? This isn't a case where they're just jumping on Kandi's side just because. They all have their individual issues with Marlo as well. That's why Kenya and Drew are saying stuff as well. Stop acting like Kandi has her minions just jumping on Marlo for no reason. That's not what this is and you know it. I noticed that Shereé does not waste a minute to pick at Kandi about something. It seems like everything that Kandi does just bothers her or annoys her because every time in her confessional, she's always saying something slick about Kandi. It's like, you really don't like Kandi, do you, Shereé? So Marlo's upset that they're not letting her speak. She gets up to leave. And at this point, Kenya's like, bye, like, you're a bottom rung bitch, bye, like, go, we don't want to see you here. And now you have Marlo in the parking lot talking about that Kenya. She's just so damn disrespectful. Oh my gosh, what flies out of her mouth? I was thinking the same woman who calls everybody everything but a child of God is talking about Kenya is disrespectful? Pardon me? Am I missing something? Marlo is the most disrespectful person on this cast, hands down. That's like when Giselle and Robin try to play victim about Candace's mouth on Potomac and Shereé out there babying Marlo. I would let her leave, go home. And then Shereé said, you know what, you're right, Marlo, you're right. I'm gonna tell Kenya to shut her mouth and just listen. You would think that Shereé would be a better friend to Kenya, especially with what happened last season when Tyrone made a fool out of you and Kenya was there comforting you, being a great friend. And the fact that you want to take Marlo's side, I'm truly at a loss for words. But like I've said, Kenya is a better friend to Shereé than Shereé is to Kenya. So Marlo walks back in the restaurant with Shereé. Shereé's like, look, Kenya, just be quiet and let Marlo speak. So Marlo sits down to address Kandi. She's like, look, Kandi, my nephew's death has nothing to do with you. I know that. But all I'm asking is, why didn't you call my sister to just, acknowledge what happened? I love how Kandi ignored her. She was like, she's just so full of it. And Marlo, you're reaching. Because why would you expect for Kandi to reach out to your sister? I just don't understand why you have placed Kandi on this pedestal that she's supposed to do everything for you. You want her to get your record expunged, be there for your nephews, cater funerals with OLG because she owns restaurants, send flowers. Like, you just expect so much from Kandi Burruss, and I want to know why. Where does this entitlement come from? And Sanya, I said, if you don't sit there and eat your food, Sanya's jumping in like she's Marlo's lawyer. I love how Kandi said, Sanya, shut up. It's not about you. You are not Marlo's lawyer. You are not her spokesperson. Just be quiet. Sanya, you're doing way too much. I don't know why you feel the need to get involved in this. It's annoying. You just want to have a moment so bad. You really want that camera time, don't you? Kandi had me screaming. She said, you want to know how I feel about this? Those flowers. That's how I feel about it. And then when Marlo said, you know what you are, Kandi? You're a different breed. You're selfish. I was like, at this point, I would have left if I were Kandi. I'm not going to sit up here and entertain this. You have the most vile person calling me selfish and saying that I'm a different breed with low character. That's the biggest joke. I'll be damned if I allow Marlo Hampton to sit up there and insult me on top of lie on me. Marlo, I hope that you get your ass handed to you at this reunion. But the brunch is over and Sheree's like, well, I did a pretty good job. I deserve a pat on the back because at least I had Kandi and Courtney resolve their issues and Sanya and Kenya. So 4 out of 7 ain't bad. I was like, okay, Shereé, I guess. Shereé can't own anything. That brunch was a flop. Nothing got solved. Marlo's still not owning up to her BS. That is not a success. Marlo's still playing the victim and acting like somebody owes her something. This brunch was a bust. This better be the last episode that we hear about this whole Marlo and this nephew and her trying to place blame on Kandi. I don't want to go one more episode hearing about it. I'm tired. Like, I am exhausted. I am mentally drained. Can we please get to the whole Ralph and Drew divorce mess? Like, that's what I want to see. But all this stuff with Marlo pulling stuff out of her ass, no thank you. But y'all, that was the episode. Those were my thoughts. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. And you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.